Hey, hello, and welcome to another YouTubey type thing from me, Roger Yates. So, speaking of favourite jokes, my favourite joke is 5 words long, which is masochist hit me, sadist no. Good, that isn't it? Okay, now I'm concerned that there could be a conspiracy that we're not seeing. Let's say that there is a social movement that's in danger of having some real effect on some very powerful businesses. Now, we already know uh, from revelations of late that the police have infiltrated all kinds of social movements over the past years, and but also that the industries affected by the social movements do it as well. In fact, in the MacLibel trial documentary, which is really good, and it's on YouTube, I recommend that. I'll put the link below. They were saying that sometimes when you add up the McDonald's spies and the police spies, there was more spies in any given meeting than activists. So say you wanted to do something about the emergence and spread of animal rights. What could you do? Maybe you could make sure that your people are in the most powerful jobs in that movement, maybe, and then you make sure that they water the message down as much as they can. You might set up some kind of evaluation mechanism which directs lots and lots of donations to the groups that you've already got your people in, and that is diverting money away from people who might have a stronger message. Perhaps that might be a way of doing it. You can encourage those groups to have really weak names, which talk about mercy, for example, which is a kind of welfareist thing. You can encourage those groups to start cage-free campaigns and abandon the vegan ones, for example. You could maybe find a really good emergent social movement organization in, say, Europe, and you can neuter them by bringing them into your fold. There might be a great organization that emerges in, say, for example, Spain. So you bring them in, and if they do undercover work, you encourage them to focus on individuals and on bad apples rather than talking about entire systems. If they have undercover materials, you encourage them to hand it over to the traditional welfare authorities, so the bad people can be prosecuted. And then you can make a big fuss about that. An animal abuser has been sorted out. That's one thing. What you could do is you could go to some person involved in, say, a vegetarian organization and suggest to them that they put themselves forward as a movement tactician, and they get themselves into such a situation that they can start having influence on this movement that you don't want to succeed. And then you can get them, once they've got some status, and maybe they can get that status by I don't know, riding on the coattails of someone famous or more famous, maybe. And that person may be famous as a vegan, even though they might write that you can procure eggs and dairy without violence. But of course, people in the movement don't read that bit. So maybe this vegetarian gets into a position of influence and then becomes a vegan tactician and suggests that what is the best thing for veganism is for vegans not to be vegan, and that veganism needs to be rewritten and redefined. That if there's a relative of someone who eats animal products, well, all well and good. If someone eats fishes or consumes eggs, well, they should still be regarded as a vegan. And so you're ripping the heart out of the meaning, the very meaning of veganism, by suggesting that vegans can abandon their moral position and start eating other animals. Now, you know, what if that came about and people fell for it? They got conned by this and they started to praise this position. This non-vegan, vegan position becomes something within the vegan movement. Now, we would like to think that could never happen, but what if it did? Then, on a more kind of theoretical side of it, what if the people with the most radical views and the most meaningful in terms of its effect, these views' effect on, say, the user industries? Well, what would be good there? Well, what would be good there would be for someone with a strong, say, animal rights voice to be marginalized. That would be good. You know, make sure that their books are not sold within the movement. Make sure that they stay fairly peripheral. Make sure that they're rather marginalized. Because you praise them and you say that they're part of the movement and that they're pioneers and very important and all that, but you don't take any notice of their position, and you certainly don't propound their position. If anything, while you're praising this person or these persons, you're also, you know, trying to undermine their position. And so ideas like animal rights will never take on, because it's always swamped and translated back to animal welfare. And animal welfare doesn't seem to bother the industry too much. In fact, one thing in this conspiracy that's not working out is that there is a great group in Ireland. It's called Go Vegan World. And they can't buy it off. They've not been able to buy it out. They've not been able to water it down. And therefore, the dairy industry have really reacted, because they've never been worried about the veggie and the veg campaigns. But now there's a strong, consistent vegan campaign. And they're really worried. And they're reacting quite violently to it. Their allies within the movement have not been successful in shutting this down. I imagine they're trying, but so far so good from a vegan animal rights point of view. So I wonder if it would be possible then to think that if there was a movement and a group of ideas that would be really good in terms of its outcome, the best way to undermine it is to get people inside that movement, to undermine it, to water it down, to neuter it, slim it down, redefine its ideas. Sociologists talk about goal displacement within social movement theory. You go in there and displace the goals, challenge the core ideas, change them, redefine them, rework them as something else. You know, maybe you could get a group of people like this who go around the globe, perhaps. Maybe they can get themselves into loads of conferences, or maybe they can even be paid to do training sessions where they tell vegans not to be vegan. Now that would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be wonderful if you could get that kind of situation? You know, if you're an animal user industry, wouldn't it be great if you had a group of people going around in the vegan community telling people not to be vegan, telling people to eat other animals? That would be great, wouldn't it? I wonder, will it ever happen? I wonder. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.